So let's go over what we covered in this module. Well, first we talked a bit about iOS. We looked at the history of it and what it's really about and some of the features that make iOS unique. And iOS really is a unique platform, unlike any other mobile platform, mainly because of the way that Apple has controlled it and has developed its growth. It's really shaped by the hardware as well as the software. So because those things are growing in conjunction, it's really quite a unique platform. We talked about some of the considerations when developing for an iPhone. The big thing to remember here is that you got to have a Mac. So if you want to be able to develop, you might have to go out and buy a Mac. You can get a MacBook Air. That's the option that I chose because it's less cost and will get you in developing on the platform. We talked about the architecture of the iOS, and we went through some of the layers, and I showed you some of the frameworks, and there's a lot there. Don't worry, you don't have to know all that, but it's just good to know that it's out there so that when you're searching and trying to do something, you know that you have that ability and you kind of have an idea of where to look. We went through the application lifecycle of the iOS application, and it's fairly simple, pretty straightforward. The typical event loop where you're going to respond to events, and most of your application life is going to be in that event loop. Then we talked about the iPhone APIs and talked about all the features that you could implement in your application using those APIs. It's pretty extensive, and you can pretty much do anything that you could think of that the hardware would allow you to do. It's not as open as some of the APIs on Android because it is a little bit more locked down, but still you can do almost anything. I haven't found something yet that I wasn't able to do that I want to do. The Apple App Store, we talked about that and how it's controlled by Apple, some of the fees that you'll need to pay if you want to become a registered iOS developer. So that is it for the first module. In the next module, we'll go into the development environment and I'll show you how to get set up. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for listening.